So Harvey Weinstein, the American film producer, has been in the news a lot lately. And this is due to the dozens of women in the entertainment industry who have come out and openly accused him of sexual misconduct. Now, this has brought to the fore much discussion about sexual harassment and sexual assault. And it has even led to this campaign on Facebook called the Me Too campaign, where women are asked to post as their status the words Me Too if they've ever been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted. And this is to raise awareness to just how pervasive this problem is in today's society. And I've heard the question asked because the fact that so many women, it's seeming like everybody was posting Me Too. And he said, is it right? I mean, that somebody who gets glared at or a catcall should be, considered the same as somebody who's been assaulted, who's been raped, or something of that nature. And of course, the magnitude and the trauma of a sexual assault is on a whole nother level. But I do think it should be discussed within the same framework and category. And I'd like to illustrate why from our Parsha this week, Parshat Noach, because I think there's a very good point made there that we need to pay attention to. And that is when God decided to send a flood to destroy every living thing on the earth in the time of Noah. The pasuk says that the Parsha says the reason why God wanted to destroy all living things on the earth was because the earth was filled with Hamas. Now, Hamas is interpreted as theft. So this always boggled my mind. I mean, out of all the horrific atrocities that man's capable of, or that man has perpetrated on this earth, theft doesn't seem to be of the highest magnitude. So why did God deem it necessary to destroy everything as we knew it on the earth then because of theft? And especially after having learned that the Chachamim say that it wasn't just theft, it was theft that was shava pruta. It was seemingly insignificant, small, negligible amounts of theft that they were guilty of. And so why would that be? And after looking into it and thinking about it, it actually made a lot of sense, because if you look at it, let's say the Chizkuni, for instance, says that this Hamas was something that penetrated all facets of their life. It was something that led them to eventually idol worship, to sexual impropriety, to even murder. And the reason for this was because they became accustomed to this frame of mind that they can take what's not theirs, that they did not respect boundaries. They did not respect the other person, the other person's right, the other person's dignity, the other person's property. And it was all about the person themselves, and they felt somehow entitled to whatever they want, irregardless of the other person. And because they felt that, they'd started with insignificant things. They didn't think it mattered. And then when they saw they can get away with that, of course it would lead to other things if they didn't think that anything mattered other than their own desires or needs. So they ended up, in the end, doing much more horrible things, and there was no accountability in society. They didn't have a system of holding people accountable. So people would take whatever they want, and chaos ensued. And that's why God's punishment was the flood, because in the flood, what God did was he took away the boundaries of, in the beginning, when God created the world, he separated the upper waters and the lower waters, and he made boundaries so that the world can exist. But he was trying to teach us that without the boundaries, this earth cannot exist. There needs to be boundaries in the natural order. We need to set these and follow them. And if not, the world will end up being destroyed. If not by God, it will self-destruct if we don't respect one another's space and property and dignity. And if we don't do that and have accountability and make a system, we can't live that way. And so, yes, small things do lead to bigger problems. And that's why a small harassment that in the eyes of the harasser might seem insignificant, might seem shavapruta to that person, but to the other person whose dignity he's taking away, it's of a large magnitude. And if the other person doesn't speak out and set those boundaries and say that this, cannot exist, it will fester and it will get worse. And even if the person removes themselves from that situation, there will be other people that come in contact with that person, and it needs to be stopped. It needs to be unacceptable. There needs to be respect for people, for their dignity, for their property, and there needs to be accountability. And only with those things can we coexist and have a society that will work for everyone. So let's try and do that, respecting each other's boundaries. And if we're feeling uncomfortable about something, don't let it go. We have to speak out and stop it before, it blossoms into something that's unbearable. I hope we can all do that, and I hope we can make this world a better place. And I hope to see you next time discussing the Parsha. Take care. Have a good one.